Hello, my quilty friends. It's Stacy of Stacy Create Stuff, and today I have a very simple quilt for you. I came across this beautiful collection by Windham Fabrics called Flora and Form by Essaldo Design. It's the kind of fabric that needs attention. It needs space in the quilt. You could cut it up into small pieces, but I feel that it would lose a lot of its impact. And so I designed a very simple quilt that showcases all the beautiful prints. Well, most of the beautiful prints in this collection. It doesn't use all of them, but it does use 9 of them for the blocks and 2 of them for the sashing, and then another one for the binding. And there's still a couple of other pieces in that collection that just didn't make it into the quilt. What I also like about this particular design is that there is some flexibility in how you lay it out. So I'm going to show you what's on my design wall, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to rearrange it, and then I'm going to have to decide which one I like best. But there is enough fabric in the kit, which is available exclusively from Vintage Pink and Green, to do either layout. All right, let's go to the design wall so you can see this beautiful fabric and you can see what I'm talking about the layout. Here we are at my design wall where I already have sewn the columns of blocks. So these are cut 10.5-inch squares. Some of the columns have half a block at the top and the bottom, and there are 8 blocks or 7 blocks and 2 halves, depending on the column. And then in between, I have these sashing pieces. So this beautiful striped fabric that is part of the collection. I have 2 strips that I've sewn together, and I've reflected them. So this is the midpoint, and you can see then this is a reflection of that. The same holds true with the fire opal colorway as well. And I just thought that worked really well rather than kind of stopping suddenly and then starting with a new print at the top. By just reflecting these, you really can't see where the seam is. So you gotta love that. Now I have laid this out so that the fire opal, that beautiful orange and tan colorway, is on the edges here. And then I have this medium with the phthalo green and more neutral colors as we move inward. And then in the very center, I have the darker colorway that's part of this collection. And I've just repeated the 3 fabrics, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, in each column. So this column has the geometric, the crackle, and I don't remember what this one was called, and then it starts again. And I use these same 3 fabrics in the other neutral column, but I've just started the order differently. So in this case, I started with this sort of field of flower one and repeated throughout. You can certainly make 2 identical columns. That would work too. I just wanted a variety all over the quilt. So that's how I chose to do it. You making the quilt, you can lay out your blocks any way you wish. You could even change up which 3 fabrics are in any particular column. It's totally up to you. But what I like about this quilt is that I can swap some things around. So for instance, if I really don't want this fire opal, which is very intense, to be on the edges, and I'd like to draw that into the center, I can swap things around. So I've moved this one to the center, and I did sew up a second dark column of blocks so that you can see what the layout. And I'm not done by just swapping these. I still have another swap to make. I want to go ahead and swap the striped sashing so that the fire opal stripe is next to the fire opal column of blocks. Now, you don't have to. You could certainly keep it like this. But let's see what it looks like swapped. All right, here we have the fire opal all together in the center, which gives it a lot of intensity here, as opposed to on the edges. I think both of them look fantastic. I may have to flip a coin to see which one I decide to do. Constructing this quilt is very simple. I simply sew columns of blocks, some of them having half a block at the top and the bottom. The sashing rows are just 2 strips sewn together so that they reflect. Once I've laid it out, I'm going to sew the columns all together, and I have my quilt top. Note that the sashing is a little longer than the columns of blocks, and so I have a little leeway in sliding it up and down. Not a whole lot, but enough that if I didn't want everything to be exactly the same across, I could kind of move things about just a little. I'm going to sew it together and then reveal which layout did I decide to use. And there you have it, my friends. That is this week's very simple but elegant quilt. I hope you'll give it a try, and even if you don't use the beautiful Flora and Form fabrics, you can keep this design in mind for any other collection that has big prints that you just don't want to cut up. The kits are available exclusively from Vintage Pink and Green. There is a link in the description below, as well as this QR code. The instructions for this quilt are available for free from my website by signing up for my mailing list. Until next time, my friends, why not check out this?